He didn't ask to carry this weight. He just kept walking, trying to find his place, trying to find peace. But even in the wilderness, God was calling him deeper. Brotherhood meets him where he is, shoulder to shoulder, with prayer, with truth, with healing. Because no man is meant to walk this journey alone. And when identity is restored, legacy begins. Sons run home. Families are made whole. Arise, Kings, a day of legacy, identity, and healing. California, May 30th, 2025. This is your invitation, your moment to rise. Arise, Kings. It's time.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Now, I am really honored to host this powerful conversation as we prepare for the Arise King Wellness Summit. Now, this transformative day is going to focus on legacy. It's focusing on healing for men and their families. And so today we're going to get an exclusive look at the hearts and look into the hearts of the men who speak into this event, and that will be a part of our panel of discussion. Now, these men just aren't panelists, they're sons of God, they're leaders, they're warriors who have walked through real battles and carry real wisdom. So as you all listen, I pray that you're encouraged, I hope that you're inspired and reminded that God is still raising up kings in this generation. I'm also hopeful that as you hear the information that is coming from the sage wisdom of our panelists, that it's going to inspire you to want more and to come out on May 30th at the Urban Magic Johnson Park on May 30th again to hear more from this exclusive panel. So we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to get real. And just to provide an introduction of one of our panelists, we have Dr. Chris Black here.
Hello.
And I just want to say welcome. Welcome.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Well, it is definitely an honor, to have you, Dr. Chris. And I'm just going to just ask a couple of questions. And the first one, I just want to see if you can just tell us a little bit about you and about, your practice.
So a little bit about me, to make it quick as possible. So, I'm an advocate for holistic health. I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, and I'm also a musician. I am a survivor I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but I overcame multiple sclerosis, relearning how to walk, relearning how to use my fine motor skills, getting my vision. I used to wear a patch over one eye, and that's where my journey kind of started. I was able to turn my life around and heal from multiple sclerosis, which changed my path into the holistic health and wellness space to let people know that you can heal. You don't have to continue to live that way. So that, so about my company, my practice, Master Your Life, Health and Wellness. Our simple motto is helping people change lives from the inside out. So like I said, it's when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I was like, okay, now God is not a respected person. So I was healed, so it must be available for somebody else too. So now I need to learn about what it is what did I do? What was so special about it? And to study learning about the practices of holistic health, wellness, not just in the area I have my degree in, but I wanted to know about nutrition. I wanted to know about what they call the four bodies. I wanted to know those things so I can empower others. I was committed to sharing. I wanted people to learn. I wanted people to heal. I wanted to be intentional about getting people the information so their lives can get better.
That is amazing. And and one of the things, you don't really hear people saying I was healed from, delivered from multiple sclerosis. So to hear that is so empowering.
It is because they say there's no cure for multiple sclerosis.
Exactly.
one of those places to where when I'm amongst medical doctors, it's not anything that you that they don't want to hear and say because of medication and things
Yeah.
like that. I stopped taking MS medication in 2005.
Wow.
I haven't taken it since.
My
I don't take any. I take vitamins and things like that, but I don't take any medication. And the thing is that I had lesions in my brain.
mm,
Is I have the MRIs to prove it. So,
yeah.
but in 2005, I went to my neurologist, and they put up the new MRI and they put up the old MRI, and they looking at the new MRI. The lesion has shrunk so small
Wow.
that you couldn't tell that it was even there.
My God.
And so the other one, it was like, if we didn't know you, because I was going every 2 years, it's like, we didn't know you, we wouldn't even say that you would even have multiple sclerosis. So that was the beginning of, and now I had already started the journey. I was already doing the work before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not when the work started. I was already doing the work. I was already doing the holistic things. I was already doing those things. But at that day, when he said, okay, well, we don't see it, but you got to continue to take this medication because we don't know if it's going to come back. I made a decision in the doctor's office when he said that I'm not taking it.
Wow. Wow.
Something,
Because you
something came over me in that moment. It was like, no, I'm not taking it no more. You said
yeah.
that you shrank, and I've been doing his work. He was like, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing is working. Just keep on doing it. I said, I'm not taking the medication anymore. He was like,
Wow.
if something, so I haven't had to take it since. Now I've been back to see a neurologist and got an MRI
Mm-hmm.
and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And funny thing is, the last time, not the last time, but probably about 7 years ago now, I went to the neurologist to do my MRI. So they looking at the things, they looking at my medical records, but they looking at the MRI. So he said, well, we can't say that you maybe it wasn't MS. That's what he said. He said
Mm.
maybe it was something else. Now this is a new neurologist. He wasn't there. He wasn't,
Yeah.
he wasn't there when they had to lift me out the bed. He wasn't there when they had to feed me. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. He looking at the medical records and he looking at the MRI. He said, well, maybe it was something else disguising itself as MS. I said, no. I said,
Yeah.
so what are you saying? Are you saying I don't have MS? He said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you don't have MS. I said, so are you saying I do have MS? He said, well, I'm not saying you do have MS. I
Mm.
said, what are you saying?
Exactly.
And to understand that he couldn't say either way because he didn't want to legally,
Yeah.
because the records, my medical records say that I have MS. That's what they
Yeah.
say. So he couldn't say, no, you don't have it. Because because in that world, they say it's no cure.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
And
one of the things that I do is I'm an MS advocate that help other people that was
mhm.
diagnosed with MS and other ailments to try to symptoms,
Yes.
reverse symptoms. Yes, and that's
No, that's just powerful. And the power of the holistic approach to your healing. You
right.
know, again, you made it up in your mind. This is what I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do everything that I can, to live a healthier lifestyle. And all through all of that, it just changed again a diagnosis that they gave you to something that perplexed them to the point where they don't know what they're saying. And in my belief, it's what God can do that man can't explain the perplexities of what they've been trained for, but
Mhm.
it's definitely confounding them to, I don't know what this is. So
Right.
maybe it was something else, like trying to
Yeah,
find
they're
something.
trying to find because it's beyond their understanding.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you said something that's key. Mind, the
Mm-hmm.
mind, the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the turning point for me.
Mm-hmm.
That was the turning point when I understood that it started from my mind. It
Yeah.
started from my own thought process. It
Mm-hmm.
started from me not just having the faith, but had to activate what already existed. Healing
Yeah.
already existed. We were created to heal. And a lot of times I tell my clients, I say, listen, when you fall, what happens to your arm or your leg? It gets scuffed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a scab. What does it try to do? It tries to heal.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
what the only reason when you break your leg or your arm, the only reason that they put a cast on it is for you. Is
Yes. So you don't interfere. Come on, sir.
the bone heals, but it
Yeah.
has it's for you to hold it in place because you're not disciplined enough to hold your arm and to hold your leg.
Come
But the
on.
bone will heal. So that goes throughout your whole body. We're created to heal.
My God. My
So,
God.
so, so if you're not healing, there's a brokenness somewhere.
Yes. Yes. And
Some,
where's the disconnect?
there's a
Oh.
disconnect. There's a brokenness, and we have to find in the four bodies. I know you heard the four bodies. Where is the brokenness? Is it in the emotional? Is it physical? Is it
Mm-hmm.
mental? Is it spiritual? Where is the brokenness?
My God, my God.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Chris, you make me want to jump out the chair right now, and I'm trying to contain myself because you're dropping some nuggets. You're dropping some powerful nuggets. And if the people haven't heard nothing in these past few minutes, our body was meant to heal. Our
Yes.
body is not meant to be broken. It's
Right.
not meant to have MS. It is not meant to have cancer. Our body is meant to heal. And if we want to take that into a whole spiritual conversation, that's just going to open up a whole different things because again, Jesus died on the cross so that he took on infirmity, sickness, and disease. So I'm excited. So I got to get back to my questions here because I want to encourage the people. This is why you need to come out for this panel of discussion to hear more information, to empower, to remind you what your body can do. And like you said, it all does start with the mind. Because if we can change how we think, what we believe, our body and our behaviors will follow.
Absolutely.
But I just want you to give us a basic definition because you use the word holistic. And I don't want to assume that everybody knows what that word means. So for you, if you can just even define what holistic health, holistic means from your perspective.
So from my perspective, and I've kind of talked about it a little bit. So the holistic is, looking into all of who you are naturally, your mind, your emotional, your mental, your physical, your spiritual. So when I say healing holistically, that is natural. No medication, no anything. So I am diving into all the parts of who I am. You say, who am I? You're all of that. We're spirit first. But after spirit, you are physical, you are mental, you are emotional, you're all of those things. So mystically, how can I heal those parts of who I am by looking into that, looking into all of who I am?
Yes. And and thank you for that, because that's literally what the premise of this event is. The Arise King Summit is we are looking at the whole man. Mind, body, soul, spirit, and the services and the resources that are provided encompasses all of those areas. And we're also dealing relationally. We want to make sure there's resources and support to be able to help a person to thrive and not just be so focused on one area. And again, negating the mental part, negating the physical health, because they're so preoccupied with one area. We're wanting to focus on the whole person. So thank you for that. So
and let me just say this.
Please.
A lot of times you've heard people say, let's have, when I was a kid, they would always say, you're supposed to have a well-balanced meal. And why do they say that? Why? They say that because when you have a balanced meal, each part of that meal does something different to your body.
Come on, sir.
It feeds a different area of your body. You cannot be at your ultimate healthiest place when you have a plate full of fruit. All the fruit's supposed to be good for you.
Yeah.
But that's not holistically, that's not a balance. You can't have steak, just a plate of steak, or just a plate of vegetables. You have to balanced in what you're doing in order to get to that ultimate place where you are healthy emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, all of that. What is your
Yeah.
balance? So yeah,
Yes, no, that's good. And I love that analogy. And I think it can resonate with so many people,
absolutely.
because when you try to negate one for the other, you're still missing something.
You still
So, yeah. And like you said, having that balance, even throughout the day, how am I feeding into my spirit? How am I feeding into my physical? How am I feeding nutritionally? And to kind of just look at it that way. So, like you said, so we can be able to operate at our highest capacity.
absolutely.
Yeah, because again, our body was intended to heal. Come on, people. Like that to me, that's really my takeaway. Our body is intended to heal. The doctor telling me something, no, my body it's intended to
It was
heal. What do you do?
yeah, and it's not a fluke. No, it's
Come
not a
on
fluke.
now.
Not only
Mm-mm.
was I diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but I was also had high cholesterol, right?
Mm.
And my cholesterol was so high that the doctor told me I was having mini strokes.
Wow.
And at any moment when I was driving, I could have had a stroke and just
Mm.
and I didn't know that. But I'm here to tell I do not have high cholesterol. I do
Praise
not
God.
take any medication. I
Mm-hmm.
stopped. When was it? That was probably 2009 or 10 or something like that. I said, you
Mm-hmm.
know what's going on? And the first thing that I did is I started looking at things holistically. What
Yeah.
do I need to change? That's what I did.
Yeah. Yes.
I
Yeah.
dug into that. And within about 3 months, the doctor was like, "Oh, this stuff is down."
Yeah. Yeah. You're
So
like, that's right, because my body's intended to heal.
it was,
And I'm doing the work.
right. It wasn't. I knew it was going to happen, but I had to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's critical too, knowing that we can do the work. Because I know, spiritually, we can say, I'm praying to God. He's going to do it, which he has, and he's done. But I'm going to do my part. So, like you said, I'm going to make sure this cholesterol gets lowered. I'm going to make sure I'm eating well. I'm making sure I have this balance, to be able to partner, with God so I can live the way he intended and not based on this diagnosis. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jesus, this is blessing my entire soul. And that was question one and some. So tell me this now, when you hear the word, because our event is called Arise Kings. So when you hear that word, those words, what comes to mind for you?
Initially, when I first looked at it and I hear the word arise,
Mm-hmm.
arise to me is like you're supposed to do something.
Mm,
It's a call to action to me. And
yes.
when I think of king, it's a call to action for me
Mm-hmm.
as a man.
Mm-hmm.
And so today you always hear, hey, what's up, king? Hey, queen. Hey, king. But my question is, do they really understand what that means? Do they
Mm-hmm.
understand that when you call them that, you're stepping into an identity that you have a certain authority, you have a
Come on.
certain responsibility
Come on,
to
sir.
yourself. You got a responsibility to your home. You have a responsibility to your community. You have a responsibility to everyone around you. So
Mm-hmm.
when I hear arise king, hey, take your position because this
Yeah.
position was created for you. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
not there, what's going on? What's the brokenness that's causing you not to be in a place where you are rising in
Yeah.
your place as a king?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, that's so profound for me. Like you said, it's a call to action, to get
It's
up and do something, to walk in this identity. And I love how you talked about, because for some men, they're just like, I don't know what that looks like. And again, with events such as this, it can help them identify maybe those areas that need to be strengthened in those four pillars. What
Mhm.
needs to be strengthened? Here are these resources. Here are some organizations that can help you to strengthen that. So I love the call to action.
All
You
the
know,
action.
mm,
Walking your purpose as a king. Walking your
yeah,
purpose as a king.
come
So
on, come on, yes, and there's a community of kings that are walking.
right, right. And you're
And
not alone. You're not
that
alone. There's a community of kings.
yes, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So why is this type of gathering you think is important for men and their families?
Um, I think that it's important. I wrote a post the other day, and I was talking about how when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, initially I didn't want to tell anybody
Mm.
because I felt embarrassed.
Mm.
Felt like it was going to give off the message that I was weak.
Mm.
And a lot of times that men carry this burden, this silent burden of of they're weak because they're being trained, or they're weak because they're being vulnerable. So I think when men start to heal and grow, their families grow,
Yes.
their families benefit, their households start to grow. So
Mm.
it's important to have this type of event because it affects each individual, but it affects the community. Because again, you're giving the responsibility and the purpose to the king
Mm-hmm.
in his place. So it's
Yeah.
important to have gatherings, and we said it earlier, that let them know that they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
You are strong. You
Yes.
you can be transparent. So there
Mm-hmm.
needs to be continued gatherings or events like this so people know that, so they can be conscious about it. They can be compassionate about the leadership and their role that they have in the community.
Yes, yes, I love that. And then that's even too just research that as the men, are healthy, as the men, even for church, as the men are more engaged in church, they're more apt to have their family come right alongside them.
Right,
And
right.
and again, like you said, if they're focused on their health, making moves for improvement, it's like the divine order, everything
Mm,
kind of just falls into place as a result of. So that is again one of the purposes here, is to equip these men to be able to stand in their rightful place, to be able to to be healthy in every area of their lives,
mhm.
because it is, it's possible. And I love how you even talked about earlier, God is no respecter of person. If he
Right.
healed you from a disease that has no cure, he's not going to do that for Dr. Chris. That can be anybody's portion that's going to do this work, that's going to have the faith to believe that this can then happen for them.
Absolutely.
So, and again, that's the importance of this panel, for me, really being strategic in terms of who can participate on this, because
Mhm.
we need people to be transparent. We need people to talk about, this is where I've been, this is where I'm have evolved to, and this is where I want to go, and to be able to share those stories and the wisdom, so that somebody else can say, I can pick that up and I can run with it. Because again, God is no respecter of person.
And you know what? And it's hard. It's hard for men,
Mm,
especially
mm,
African American men. It's hard to be transparent because we're seen as weak, and we
mhm.
were taught that. My mother passed away when I was 9 years old.
Wow, I'm sorry.
And so my father, I'll never will forget. I was coming home from school and I saw all these people, and the first thing that came to my mind is my mother died.
Mm,
And my father whisked me into the house, took me downstairs, and told me that my mother passed away.
mm,
I'm the oldest boy, right?
mm.
And the
Okay.
thing, what he said to me, I'm 9 years old now, and what he said to me was, "You have to be strong for your younger brothers."
Mm.
And,
Whew.
and as a 9 year old,
Yeah.
we love our parents,
Mm-hmm.
believe our parents. They're our one of our first teachers. So I
Yeah.
internalized that is I had to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I didn't really cry and mourn the death of my mother until I was in my 30s.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because of that, because of the trauma of what he said, I was
Yeah.
afraid to be transparent
Mm-hmm.
about the healing and sharing how I felt. So
Yeah.
I want to be transparent now to let men know, hey, you don't have to carry that. You don't have
Mm-mm.
to hold that.
Yeah.
I want to
Ooh.
give my stories of what happened to me between 9 and when I was 30 that I could have avoided
Yes.
if I was just transparent.
Exactly.
I
And
was
given
just
the permission
vulnerable.
to.
Yeah. So I want
Yeah.
to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, that's so so meaningful, Dr. Chris, because I think that can just resonate with so many people, the
Mhm.
messaging that we receive. And I'm sure, your dad was saying it out of, encouragement, but
Right.
in the mindset of a 9-year-old, it's that taking on that weight. I got to be strong. I can't be
Right.
weak. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
how the mind again tries to make that to be something now a negative, and like you said, having to maybe uh internalize the pain. Like you said, it was for you 30. I went through something similar when my father passed. He
Mhm.
passed at 13. I didn't start begin dealing with that late 20s, probably
See?
in them 30s.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and what I learned about the brain is that so I was 9. I had an
Mm-hmm.
understanding as a 9, and how trauma works is that as you get older,
Come on.
that part don't.
Nope. Nope. You 30 and but operating in a 9-year-old mentality.
Right,
Right?
that
Mm-hmm.
emotion is still at that
Mm-hmm.
9-year-old because
Mm-hmm.
you didn't allow it to release. It's
Yeah.
stuck in what's called the trauma capsule. It's stuck in this
Yeah.
trauma capsule that you have not processed.
Exactly, exactly.
And
And we're aging chronologically, but emotionally stuck in that moment. And I used to say, oh, 13-year-old Kim is operating, when I respond to things versus the 25-year-old version of me. So, and like you said, I think events such as this can really kind of give some words, some language, some understanding to people, because a lot of times with trauma, it has been normalized, and this is just how I am. This is just what we do.
right,
But it can be something different, and that's what we're wanting to hope to be able to convey. You don't have
yeah,
to live with that.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and we can drop off some of this weight, and there's people to help you also to be able to carry it
Right.
and to navigate through it with the help of the Lord. Yeah. My gosh, this is so good to me. This is so good to me. Um, Tell me this: how do you think communities can better support men in their healing and in their growth and their leadership?
I think that first of all, starting with continuing events like this,
Mm-hmm.
creating the safe space, and
Mm-hmm.
not just a safe space, a judgment-free
Yes.
safe space, a place for men to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not being judged for being
Mm-hmm.
honest. That
Yes.
just because I start to cry about something that you start talking about me, and I go away feeling worse than when I came.
Yeah. Yeah.
And offering, with this event, you're offering mentorship and support. So I think
Mhm.
that we continue with things like this in the community. Um, this is what's going to help. Continue to invest in the men and strengthen the family. And it's going to strengthen the family. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I want to say, of all the interviews that have gone on today, of the panelists, I want to say that that's one of the main themes, that to ensure that this is a safe space for the men to be transparent, to be able to receive these resources, a judgment-free environment, so that they can know that this is safe, so they can then be able to access these services within the community.
Right. And sometimes, why wouldn't you say sometimes? A lot of times, it's going to take more than one.
Yes. Yes.
Because it has to be something that's consistent to
Yeah.
build the trust in the
Mm-hmm.
community, to build the
Yeah.
trust around men. It's great, we can have a health and wellness something every quarter, but what
Yeah.
happens in the meantime?
Come
What
on,
happens
sir.
in the middle? How do they
Mm-hmm.
continue to get support to believe that you're really about helping them? If you just come
Yes.
talk to them for 2 hours and they say, okay, we're gonna do it again in December. Come on.
Yeah. Or better yet, we'll do it next May.
Yeah, yeah. This is a yearly event,
I
so
know.
that is when we talk about creating a safe space,
Mm-hmm.
feel like they can be honest. Sometimes it's going to take the third conversation, the fourth
Yeah.
conversation, sometimes the fifth conversation, and that's going to have to come through consistency of events.
Yes.
And all the
Yes.
events don't have to be as big as this one. It can be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we're gonna get together on a Thursday night, or
Yeah.
we're gonna do this Zoom call. We're gonna do it once a month. So you to be
Mm-hmm.
able to set it up. It has to be something that's continual.
Yes, yes. And thank you for that, Dr. Chris, because that's literally one of the goals. My personal goal is to not just have this, because it's literally a weekend of events. There's something Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's not just a weekend. We want to empower men to be able to know after this, all these resources come, these encouraging words, that they can leave and can still be able to walk forward into where they're wanting to go, and
Mhm.
that there's resources in place for them to be able to walk in that. Because I don't want to be, because I've been in events like that. I've hosted events where it's like, we did it, catch you next year,
No,
and it's like
I think
we
we've
look
all done the same.
right,
We did
yeah.
it. And then it's just, we're going to have a wrap up meeting, you know.
Exactly. I
How we
may
gonna,
send you an evaluation. Tell me how
yeah,
you're doing in 3 months.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's really that commitment. And I think you talked about it. Just, yeah, that consistency, because that's all I kept hearing. How can we consistently help? Because through consistency, trust can also be established to
Mhm.
know that, hey, if I'm transparent, these people aren't going to abandon me, because I was abandoned at 14. And, here come these people again. Like, I don't want to leave that tone. So as you talk about that consistency and support, the consistency in the programming, the consistency in providing that support. And it doesn't have to be grand, as you said.
Right.
It
Don't
can
have,
just be, how are you doing today? Can we
right,
hop on the Zoom? Can we go for a walk?
right, right,
You
right.
know, yeah. Can we go get a salad?
Right. And so they can start to trust you.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
build
We go.
the trust. There's so much brokenness and
Mhm.
disconnect, that they want to know that they can trust.
Yes, yeah. And that again is the goal. And I just think again, panelists that again are transparent, that are, can be able to speak to that, because at one point or another, I'm sure you all have been in situations that, that the guests will have, and to really just be able to speak upon that and just instill hope, that encouragement, and and inspiration to continue to want to do better,
Mhm.
and to, again, to live the life that God has for them, and not the one that they're settling for,
Right.
not like that.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. Yeah, but for them just to be able to move forward to greatness. So I'm excited. I'm excited to hearing more
Mhm.
about you, from you, because this is just going to be an exciting, event packed discussion. And I'm just grateful for all of those that will be able to partake in this. But I'm going to allow you just to say any last minute comments, thoughts, that you want to just share before we end our live.
I just want to say that I'm excited to be a part. Anything that is going to leave this space for people to heal and for people to be vulnerable and to
Mhm.
know that they're not alone. I'm excited to be able to offer myself and to be able to share.
Yeah.
And also with Master Your Life, I do have a community. I'm building a community, a health and wellness community, to where people can be inside the community and get all the resources that I have to offer.
Mm.
Whether it's having a conversation, whether it's, it needs, I want to be a part of the community where other people are doing the same thing. We partner in
Yeah.
doing something. So we're always doing that. Some people may go to you, some people may go to me, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, that everyone needs to be a part to make sure that the men and women take their
Mhm.
rightful place as a king, take their rightful place as a queen.
Yes. I love that. And we'll definitely make sure we make sure your information is shared, as this broadcast will go. So definitely want to make sure people are equipped and have this information again to live healthily, in every area of their lives. So thank you so much, Dr. Chris. I appreciate you. I honor you. I respect you. And I look forward to working with you, not only for this event, but for whatever else God has in store for us. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
He didn't ask to carry this weight. He just kept walking, trying to find his place, trying to find peace. But even in the wilderness, God was calling him deeper. Brotherhood meets him where he is, shoulder to shoulder, with prayer, with truth, with healing. Because no man is meant to walk this journey alone. And when identity is restored, legacy begins. Sons run home. Families are made whole. Arise, Kings, a day of legacy, identity, and healing. California, May 30th, 2025. This is your invitation, your moment to rise. Arise, Kings. It's time.